Yo, what up? Welcome to another episode of the I Have a Problem podcast. It's your boy, Mike Sykes at Mike D Sykes on Twitter. I always screw up my own Twitter name. Maybe I should change it. I wish I could do something kind of more simple, like at Mike or at Sykes, but like those are both taken, obviously. So um, I'm here with my man Wardell, who is a contributor at Real Ball Insiders. He's here to talk sneakers with me. We've had this huge Adidas news come out over the I guess it's less than a day now, that Adidas is actually it jumped over Jordan in terms of retail sales. So we're going to dive into that. But first, I kind of want to just introduce my man to the people. Wardell, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, like you said, I'm Wardell. You reach me at Twitter at Ponix Wardell. I've been writing for Real Ball Insiders for the past few months now. I just started Under the Laces, which is a sneaker site for fan-sided. I've been doing a little few podcasts here and there for Real Ball Insiders, and I'm just trying to, create dope content. And when I saw this opportunity to come on this pod, and I thought it's a dope pod, I was like, hey, I gotta try to jump at this opportunity.
Facts, man. Facts. Thank you so much for coming on. So what are your favorite sneakers? Like, what do you have a specific favorite, or like, are you just kind of like are you a brand central dude, or do you just wear whatever looks cool?
I tend to wear whatever looks cool. I don't try to rely on just one brand, but I'd say that my favorite shoe of all time is an Adidas shoe. So oddly enough, that this is a talking point, but the Adidas Mutombos, that's my favorite silhouette of all time. I can rock those whenever.
Yeah, that's a classic. That's a classic. Those are fire. I don't. That might go a lot over a lot of people's heads because a lot of people are kind of just now riding this Adidas wave, but the Mutombos are like those go back.
Yeah, man, Adidas got some OGs that are like pretty hot because most people, when they think old Adidas shoes, they only think of the same two shoes, right? Superstars and Stan Smiths. But
Right.
like, there's a ton of other lines that you could go back and find that are pretty dope, and then that look completely different than what the new wave of Adidas is, because their whole new movement is futuristic shoes that like we've never seen before. So that's definitely helped propel them to what they are now.
Yeah, most definitely. I would say that you know, it's kind of weird because like Adidas has always been part of this like this hip hop culture, right? Like they've always had kind of a foot in the door, but never have been able, in my opinion, they haven't been able to kind of squeeze in there like they have today, which is like really interesting to me because like I like a lot of their past silhouettes, right? Like they're really good, and I think the company has always kind of been. It hasn't always been like the most forward thinking, but it's been like good enough to me where like I enjoy um, kind of the culture of Adidas as much as I enjoy wearing the shoe. Um, so yeah, I think it's pretty interesting that we're finally here with the company now,
Yeah.
where we're like they're kind of like everyone's talking about them. They don't have the biggest market share or anything like that, and maybe like they don't even have the biggest mind share at this point in terms of like people thinking that they're the best brand out there, but like as far as a talking point, like people know like Adidas is on the come up.
Oh, absolutely. And what's been fascinating, like you said, with their culture and how close they've been to breaking to the top is that their history is filled with a bunch of missed opportunities, right? Like they missed out on Michael Jordan, even though he wanted to sign with Adidas, and they ended up letting him sign to Nike, and that was obviously a really big mistake. They let Kobe go in the early 2000s, and then when they had the opportunity to sign LeBron, they wouldn't give the extra million it took to sign LeBron
That's
James.
so
Like
incredible.
there's three instances where they could have had the guy that made their brand launch to what it is today. It's just I think they finally realized like we got to start taking chances on these athletes, because that's what really sells the shoes. Is more than anything, it's the athletes, and that now their roster is just stacked. At least for basketball, it is. I mean, they have Wiggins, Harden, Lillard. I guess you get the D Rose in there. I don't really know. Like he's not really a mainstay anymore. He is in China, so I
Right.
guess
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of helps. But like they're just signing as many athletes as possible, and now it's starting to kind of pay off for them, at least in the basketball market.
I mean, they've got on top of those guys, they've got Porzingis and Embiid, who are two of the biggest up and coming stars in the league, which is a great thing to have for a brand. But I kind of think it's interesting because like Adidas, to me, they kind of punted the whole or not punted, that's the wrong word. Like they pushed basketball to the side a bit, right? Like
Yeah.
Kanye West was their guy. They gave him the Yeezy line, and it's popping in terms of, I would say, influence, right? And then like they have other creatives and other influencers like Pharrell Williams, ASAP Ferg, people like that who are on the roster that just make the brand look really, really cool. And like they've got all these cool running silhouettes, and like it felt like all of this kind of happened after after they signed James Harden, which was like at the beginning of, it was 2 seasons ago. They just gave him his first sneaker at the beginning of last season. They've had James Harden for 2 seasons, and they locked Dame Lillard into a huge deal around that same time. So like it felt like they were kind of like, okay, we've got basketball taken care of. This is all we need for right now until the next big superstar comes about and we have a chance to sign him. But like, let's just focus on making this brand look as cool as possible to as many people as possible. And like they've done that by using entertainers over your normal athletes. Like and that's mostly in the United States, right? Because like as a global brand, Adidas is huge in soccer, which is the biggest global sport.
It dominates the soccer market.
So yeah, what do you think about them using entertainers in that sense? Like,
well, I think it was a smart move by Adidas to emphasize that more, because Jordan Brand only does basketball shoes, right? And like that's only a specific niche that is willing to buy expensive basketball shoes. And Adidas made the move to expand on their day-to-day shoes, the casual footwear. And that's where you can convince your heads to buy into your brand if their musicians that you like are closely associated with the brand, if the shoe looks cool, if more and more people are wearing the shoe, and if it's cheap. The Tubular Shadows, as pointed out, is a top 10 selling shoe right now, and it's only like 110, 120 bucks, which, I mean, for I guess the average person, that seems like a lot for a sneaker, but for sneakers, it's kind of cheap for a sneaker, and it's one that people genuinely like the silhouette. So I think that that's where Adidas is really capitalizing. The US is expanding outside of just the basketball sneaker niche, and it's something that Jordan Brand I don't think really can do, because people only associate Jordan Brand with Michael Jordan. It's a basketball sneaker for a basketball player, and I don't know if they're necessarily going to be able to regain this lost ground, unless, of course, the whole Adidas Originals line, it starts to slide out of favor. So only so many people can buy the Superstars and Stan Smiths before pretty much everybody has them.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, even with the Adidas Original line, like they're coming up with so many new silhouettes, so many new twists to their originals that like I don't know if they run out of ideas with that anytime soon. Especially, I think they have the best new product in terms of technology on the market right now with their Boost stuff. Like that stuff is incredible. It makes shoes incredibly comfortable and easy to walk in. It reminds me kind of the when Nike introduced the air bubble, right, with their Air Max, right? Like this is kind of like the same thing, but like it's Adidas that's doing it now, and they're putting it in everything, which is kind of annoying because like it doesn't really belong in everything, in my opinion. Like when you put Boost in like a normal Superstar, I'm just kind of like, come on, like I don't really want to wear that, but like somebody's wearing it though. Like people are buying it. And it's working out for them. So like I don't know if they'll ever run out of ideas. And on top of that, I mean, you still have things like the ZX Flux and the NMDs that are pretty cheap for really top-notch shoes. Like they look really cool and they fit really well and are super comfortable. And like they're 120 typically. some of them run you 180 depending on like the rarity of them.
Yeah. Or and
But
if they have
like,
like Prime Knit and everything like that, the full
right,
futuristic text gearing and everything, then that'll obviously increase the price. But yeah, no, like you said with Boost, it was a huge game changer for Adidas. Like, and it's like you said, it is their Air, and it performs better than Nike's Air, mainly because Nike's Air, it has to be so limited because you don't want your Air unit to pop. With
right,
Boost, you don't have that problem. It's full, you can have full length Boost and there be no problems whatsoever, which is pretty phenomenal from a technological standpoint because that's not something anybody really expected to be possible because, you know, Air was, many people thought was the ceiling, and that now people have just burst through it, which is kind of crazy to me.
right. Yeah, it is super crazy. Like when they first introduced it, I was super skeptical. I'm like, okay, like what is this? Like it looks like styrofoam. Will it break if I walk too hard on it?
Yeah.
Like it. But like wearing it, it was just incredible, and like it's super sturdy, super flexible. Like I absolutely love it, and it's the best thing ever on my foot.
Yeah,
Like it's
it's
like
the
walking on a
best
cloud.
cushioning I've ever felt. Like it's insane.
Yeah, it's really like walking on a cloud. Like I think Nike is that they're kind of trying to counter that with this React technology. I haven't worn that yet in their Hyper
Yeah,
Dunks,
neither
but
have I. Yeah, and I've tried the Vapor Maxes because that was supposed to be their version, like their counter, their
mhm.
real counter to the Ultra Boost, and the Vapor Maxes aren't comfortable, man. They're just not.
It's just
It's
a
so
light
stiff
shoe.
on the bottom.
Like it's a super light shoe, but like the sole's still really awkward to walk on for me.
Yeah, like you could feel the plastic, and it. That's not really what you feel in Boost. You know, you Boost, it's a comfortable ride the whole time. It feels kind of like memory foam, and that's definitely not the Nike Vapor Max. Like it's, you could feel the tubes that separate everything in the Air Max units.
Right. And plus they squeak.
Oh yeah,
They
really
squeak in it.
bad.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. So about this Jordan run, right? Like, man, is do you feel like this is the end for Jordan as a brand? Like,
No, I don't think it's going to be the end. I think that what they're doing right now with their main line is a really smart idea because everybody has kind of resoundingly said that the newest Jordans, like they just don't look good. Like for the most part, most people say that the Jordan line died out from like 15 on, and I think what's smart with them with the Jordan 31 and 32s is that you're just reusing pretty much classic silhouettes and you're just updating them with the new text. And that's, I think that that's going to do a lot to keep them alive because imagine playing in an updated version of the Jordan 4s. Like that's it, like with a new tech spec that's got to look nice, and if it performs well, better than the Jordan 4s did, then that's, I think that's going to be a win for them. It's just, I don't think that their growth is going to continue happening. I think that they're going to drop a little bit more, and then I think they'll settle at roughly like 20% of the sneaker market. I don't think they can grow anymore.
hmm. That's interesting. I think you kind of set yourself up for that when you create a brand based off of one player's persona, right? Like you only there's a lot of nostalgia that comes with that people connect to and that make people want to buy the sneaker. So like if you keep making models after the player retires, after Michael Jordan retired, like people aren't
Yeah.
going to keep buying into it, right? So like I do think you're right on it's very smart for them to kind of hit the reset button with the 31 and 32 and go back to those old silhouettes and kind of build off of those. And I think they're going to keep doing that. I hope they keep doing that. At least until we get to 8, because the 8 is my favorite Jordan. But yeah, and I don't think I don't think Jordan's going anywhere per se, but like you said, like I don't think they'll ever reclaim that number 2 spot again. Like I think that's just unless like I will say this, like Russell Westbrook is an incredible player who just averaged a triple double in
Oh
an
yeah.
NBA season, which is a very incredible thing. So like in my opinion, I don't see the Jordan 31 as a Jordan shoe. I see that as a Russ shoe.
Yeah, so do I. I
And
see that as Russell Westbrook sneaker.
I also feel like we could kind of potentially see that same thing happen with the 32. Right. Like I
Mhm.
think Jordan has needed someone to kind of break the mold of his face and kind of become the new face of the Jordan brand. And I feel like Russ is he has accomplished that to this point. Like whether he can keep it up or not is a big question. I do think that if they hit with his specific signature shoe on the court and maybe off of it, even though like I don't like the Westbrook Zero or the 0.2, like they're
Yeah,
both
nah,
really
the
really good.
casual shoes that he has are kind of whack.
Yeah, they're pretty whack. But if they hit on his on the court shoe, like I think that will do wonders for the brand. But like they really have to hit on it. Like it can't be like the shoe that Chris Paul just had come out. Like
Yeah, like that's what's also hurt Jordan is that like they've had other signature athletes outside of just the Jordan line. It's just they've never really popped off, or if they did, they popped off and peaked like 6 years ago with the Melo line and the Chris Paul line. Like nobody really wants to buy Chris Paul's or Melo shoes anymore. It kind of sucks because at one point they were solid choices in the market. It's just they're just not really there anymore. And I think that like you said, Russell Westbrook and Kawhi, I think too, will be the biggest factor on whether or not Jordan can truly rebound from this. Like if they can really reclaim that number 2 spot, is if those two do a better job selling and pushing units than what Chris Paul and Melo did. If they can do that, then they'll be fine. It's just I don't know if that's really going to happen. Kawhi mainly because like you kind of have to have a bit of a personality in order to sell a
right.
sneaker, and you know the Spurs are everybody's kind of robots, so I don't know if that's really going to happen. But Russ, I think if there's any athlete in the NBA that can do it, I think it could be Russ, just because he's so loud in terms of his fashion sense on and off the floor. So I think he could be the guy to do it for him.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because like they've built this campaign around Kawhi and him not having a personality and turning that into his personality, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like is can Kawhi that whole can Kawhi score Kawhi thing was absolutely phenomenal. Like I love that, right? And
Oh yeah,
like
that was. I mean, that was
the
arguably the best sneaker commercial I'd seen in like 10 years. I can't even remember the last sneaker commercial that I saw was like, man, that's a great commercial because it plays so perfectly to Kawhi without actually having him in the commercial, which is pretty phenomenal because it in its own weird way acknowledges that he doesn't really care enough about and to actually even be in the commercial himself and talk or anything. It's just other people debating for him, which I think
right,
is a pretty genius move.
right. It reminded me of the you remember the T Mac commercial
Yeah,
where the kids were talking about him scoring 13 and 33 seconds. Like
yeah.
that's what that reminded me of. And I haven't seen a commercial like that since, like you said, man. Like it was great. It was great. Yeah, so I mean it's kind of weird that they have these two Kawhi and Russ are like on two opposite ends of the spectrum
Oh yeah.
as
They're
far
nothing
as
alike at
yeah,
all.
as far as marketing, but like I think those are two like they were two of the top three MVP candidates, right, last year, and one of them was the MVP, right? So like that's a great place to be in. That's a place that Melo and CP3 have never really been in together at the same time, right? You've
Yeah.
either had one or the other um, as a candidate, or well, that's pretty much it because neither of them had won MVP or anything like
Yeah.
that. Um, so yeah, I mean they're in a really interesting place. Like hopefully we can see the brand continue to evolve around those two. But I mean, either way, like I feel like this run of Jordan Brand and really Nike overall with their basketball silhouettes, like I feel like this run has been pretty phenomenal. It's been about 30 years, really, when you think about
Well,
it.
yeah, I
Like,
mean, you think of it, the best, like we said, the best selling line in Jordan brand has been the Jordan line, like the actual Michael Jordan line. And for a single player to have carried an entire brand of himself for 30 years is ridiculous, especially when other brands like Adidas, like we just were talking about, they have to have 12 guys just in order to move into number 2. And Jordan was able to pretty much do it on his own. Like, and that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible work. Like I mean, like when obviously he had to produce, right, to get that to happen. He had to produce on the court and kind of turn himself into a player who was able to turn into a legend, right? But like Nike is a huge campaign machine, right? Like they're a huge marketing machine. They know what works in terms of marketing and making someone look favorable in the public. Like Nike has always been good at that kind of stuff. So like they took Jordan's image and amplified it even more into this legendary status, right? Like I mean it's pretty incredible how far they've come with it, even after he retired for the last time, after Wizards Jordan, rest in peace. Like it was I don't know, man. Like I'm just kind of floored by it. And then like on top of Jordan, like you still have the Pippen line and the uptempo line that are still popping. You still have the Air Max line that's still popping for the most part. Like it's incredible, like how these things are still popping today. Like I don't know how they do it, honestly.
Yeah, and I don't think that we'll ever see any brand do that again, right? Like, especially not with the Jordan line, because I know people have, they've had this kind of odd fetishism with the Kobe line, but I don't think if it separates itself into becoming a true subsidiary of Nike, I don't think it has nearly as much success as the Jordan line has. And then same with the LeBron line.
Right.
Like, I know that there are some great LeBron silhouettes and some great Kobe silhouettes, but man, for Jordan, like pretty much all of his first 15 were hits. Like every single one of them were classic silhouettes. And I don't think anybody could ever, copy that ever again.
Right. Yeah. Like I was going to say there may be 4 or 5 LeBrons that we can legitimately call like hits that everyone loved. Like you have mixed reviews on most of them, I would say. But like for me, like the 8, 9, 10, and 6 and the 2 are probably like those are the ones that I think like people really love, like just kind of all around people love. But like you said, Jordan's first 15, like people love those shoes. Like people will die on that island. You know what I mean? Like
it's like people are so in love with the designs that they'll buy some like pretty awful colorways of the shoes just to say that they have that silhouette, which is insane because, and if someone sees a pair of LeBrons that like the colorway is just god awful, they'll be like, nah, man, you got to take those off and get something else because you can't rep like that, man. That's just wrong.
Right. Oh my God. Do you remember the Jordan Air Force One Fusion? That time period. Like, that was so, looking back on it, like I don't think people like those now, but I wanted those so bad at the time.
It's the hype that Jordan's able to build for every single shoe. It's insane. Like, and then like you said, in hindsight, it's just like maybe those weren't the greatest shoes. It's just at the time you just build up so much nostalgia that you just want the shoes so bad that nothing else really matters at that point.
Right. Those in the whole Team Jordan line, like I was in on that. Like it was basically a more affordable line of Jordan, right? And it made you, even though like they weren't on the normal line, like you still felt a part of it. Like I don't see that with the LeBrons or the Kobes. Or even the Durants, like definitely not the Durants. Like,
yeah, definitely not the KDs.
Man, they got off to a really good start with that line, but it kind of fell off after. I like the 7 and 8.
Yeah, I mean, the shoes perform well. Don't get me wrong; they're nice shoes. It's just the last like 3 look exactly the same almost. They just look like slight modifications. Which I don't know if that's really a smart business plan, but if that's what Nike wants to do with that line, that's definitely what they want to do with that line.
Right. All right. So I wanted to talk a bit about Kanye West. We touched on it earlier, but I wanted to get your opinion on the Yeezy line. Because like I said, there are a lot of varying opinions on like the effect that the line has on Adidas because they don't make a lot of shoes generally for the Yeezy line, meaning that, like they don't produce. For those of you who are laymen here, like they don't produce a lot of Yeezys, just generally, just to make the shoe, make
Yeah.
it so that the shoe is still a rarity. It's still exclusive. Like if you have a Yeezy,
Hmm.
you're a part of exclusive company, right? And this is kind of the same with the clothing line as well, but on like a different scale because it's clothes and nobody really, excuse me, nobody really cares that much about that. But yeah, so the sales, the numbers in terms of sales, like they're not significant, right?
No.
Like we won't see Yeezys at the top of Adidas selling charts. But I personally feel like the influence of Kanye West in the Yeezy line has kind of that's what really shifted the tide for Adidas. And really kind of for Nike too, since they let him walk out of the door after dropping two pretty significant hits
Yeah.
for Nike.
Those two Nike Air Yeezys were phenomenal. It's just Nike, what Adidas did is, like you said, it doesn't really have a large impact on their financial growth, but what it did do was it shifted the tides, and now like Adidas finally had someone that people would talk about. Like it at that time, they only had basically Derrick Rose, right? Like that's just not much that you can really market off of, especially Derrick Rose. When you hear Derrick Rose speak and he's in interviews, he's a pretty quiet guy. Like he doesn't really
Right.
say very much. So that's not exactly a winning formula for people to try to build off of. I think they're like casual line. I think they had Justin Bieber at the time or Selena Gomez, one of the two.
Yeah.
But that's just not enough to really swing over an entire market. And then Kanye West was a talking point in that he left Nike, which was a huge deal, like especially because of how popular those two silhouettes were. And him leaving Nike was a big deal. And then them introducing Boost in his shoes and full prime net uppers was a pretty big deal because the technology was a big advancement. And he out is, he's as outspoken as ever. And that's always something that he's so closely associated with Adidas now that any time that his name is brought up, you're almost certain to hear Adidas brought up too. And that's a pretty big deal for the brand in terms of being able to market without actually having to pay for marketing. They just have to pay it Kanye and that's it. And that's like the word of mouth is enough that spreads on its own like a wildfire. So they found a way to market without having to really spend the hundreds of millions that it would take to have caught up with Nike if they didn't have Kanye West.
Right. And for those of you who don't know, like Nike has one of the biggest marketing arms in the world. It's billions of dollars, right? And it's hard to catch that. And Adidas is pretty sizable too. But Kanye West gives them another
There's no
boost.
doubt about how popular Adidas is. Like it's just, I think for the most part, it's in the US is where it really mattered most.
Mm-hmm.
Because
right,
like you said at the top of the show, Adidas absolutely dominates the soccer market. Like there's them and Puma, there's no two brands closely associated with soccer in South America and Europe and even in parts of Africa. Like that's Adidas is the soccer brand. And for them to try to take over the US, it means having to get out of their comfort zone because in the US, soccer just isn't that popular. For whatever reason, it's just not as popular as it is everywhere else. So they had to look outside of the box, and that their outside the box was as outside as it could get with an athlete or a person, and that was Kanye West. That's as crazy it can get, right? Like that's
right.
So might as well swing for the fences with him.
Right. Let's be honest. Soccer is not popular in America because America is a country full of a bunch of heathens. But that's neither here nor there. I'm kidding mostly. But no, that's a really great point that you make on West and how big he is in terms of just self promotion, right? It's promotion of himself and if he's promoting himself, he's promoting Adidas, and that was huge for the brand. So like I think there are a lot of economists, right, who kind of look at the financials and the numbers behind it, and they're like they kind of dismiss him as as the person who created this wave, or who amplified the wave, I should say, of Adidas. But like the way that I see it is that he's kind of the biggest orchestrator behind it. And I'm not a huge Kanye West fan. Like it's just all of this happened around the same time Kanye came to Adidas, right? He came to Adidas, they introduced Boost, and then boom, like we have Adidas as the number one or the number two um, sports footwear retailer in the United States, and that's like that is huge. That's huge. So like I personally feel like his presence here is kind of undeniable in terms of his effect on the both the market and mind share of in America. Um, so I think you actually covered that pretty well. I didn't really have to say very much. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I actually have a question on this because I'm just
okay.
curious because Kanye West has made it known that he wants everybody to have Yeezys, and he's made it known that he wants different lines of Yeezys, a more affordable pair that are like 40, $50, and then a middle class pair that's like in the 150 range, and then his normal line, which is in the 300s kind of range. Do you think that Adidas would be smart to move forward on what he wants to have happen with the brand? Because he wants it to basically be the Kanye West brand, really. Like he wants to run Adidas. And he's made it known that he kind of wants to make a Yeezy basketball shoe. Do you think that Adidas would be smart to do that? Or do you think that it might be not the greatest idea to really give one person that much control over a brand?
I think it's kind of I'm kind of on the fence with it. I think it would be a smart thing to do. Um, just because I mean, look, we just talked about Jordan's 30-year run, right? And like I
Yeah.
think Adidas has the opportunity to do kind of the same thing in a different atmosphere with Kanye West. It might not be 30 years, but it could be a decade or decade and a half of them flourishing behind the Yeezy line. So like I do think it is it's a smart thing to make different versions of your shoe, right? Make different lines of your shoe. Like you have to kind of get the product out to as many people as possible. So like I do like the Yeezy Power Phase, right? Like I'm a fan of that shoe, even though it looks like a Reebok.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the shoe that he hoops in is. I think they're calling it a Yeezy Trainer. I'm not sure about the name of it, but like I think that's also a really smart thing to do. But I do think that Adidas has to kind of be careful with this, because like the thing about what Kanye brings to them is that he offers people the opportunity to join this exclusive club, right? Of being an owner of a pair of Yeezys. So if you're making Yeezys that are $120, $150, right? Instead of the normal run of like 300, 320, like you just said, like then you run the risk of more people having the shoe, which is like, I mean, it's a great thing for people to have the shoe, right? But like, you want everyone to have the shoe, because then you run the risk of doing what Jordan Brand is doing now, when you're just dropping like random colorways of the Jordan 11 and asking people to buy them, even though like they're not super exclusive anymore. Like nobody feels special because they have a Jordan 11. So like I think if you can kind of do it both ways, in my opinion. Like you can make those shoes, but they still kind of have to be, they have to be rare. They have to be exclusive. Like you can't just sell them to everyone. So like you can make limited quantities still. You can produce limited quantities, but like and I don't have any problem with them being affordable. Like I would prefer that they would be affordable so I can buy a pair. But
Yeah.
I just feel like you have to have the limited quantities, at least for now, until like you feel like you've ridden the wave enough, and now you want more people to have the product.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like I think that's a great point, and where you don't ever think about overproducing to the point where you could end up seeing a pair of Yeezys like the middle class Yeezys and like Ross. You know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
I think that would be a very bad look for the brand, because that would mean that their market's just kind of overinflated. And then whenever something's overinflated, just like in economics, that means that bubble's going to pop eventually. And that would be it would take away all of the work that Adidas has been trying to push forward for the past few years. So I definitely agree where they can make those cheap shoes, but just don't make a lot of them. Make them in as limited quantity as they are right now with the normal Yeezy line. Like you don't want everybody to have the shoe. I know Kanye West does, but that's just because he wants his brand to be insane. Like he wants to be Steve Jobs, which is, I don't know if that's really going to be happening in the sneaker industry, but that's what he wants the brand to be. And I think the only thing that Adidas should do, like genuinely do, I think that they have to make him create a basketball shoe. Like hip hop and basketball are so closely associated. They've always been that closely associated. So I think that that's a must for me. Like I think that would, and I don't even care what the price is. Like I think that a ton of people would jump at that opportunity, or to even see like anybody on the floor with a pair of Yeezys. Well, we saw what happened when Nick Young did it.
That was incredible.
Yeezys. It was insane. Like that people lost their mind over that. So to have an actual basketball shoe, I think would be great. And I think it'd be even better if you did a collaboration with Dame, just because, the rappers collaborating kind of thing would be pretty dope.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Like there are a number of things that they could do with Kanye. And I'm surprised that they haven't done it yet in terms of like a sneaker collaboration with a basketball player, because like he talked about that a while ago.
Yeah, so like 2 years ago, I thought
right.
He's wanted to do it for the longest, and it's kind of surprising that Adidas hasn't taken that step yet.
Yeah, and I was also surprised that they didn't when they had the NBA jersey apparel deal. Like I was surprised that they didn't let him get in on any of those jersey designs, because he had said that he wanted to, but they just weren't. I guess they just weren't open to it. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's not too late for them. It might actually be the right time for them to do something like that, with the news of them overtaking Jordan Brand coming out yesterday. Like this is a time when they can metaphorically twist a knife, right? Like you just
if there's ever a time to really make a push, like it's right now while the iron's hot, because nobody, like the same way we did, nobody thought that this could happen. Nobody thought that Adidas could legitimately take over Jordan Brand. So now that they have, you may as well get as much of your craziest news out now while everybody's already talking about you, because it's just going to keep adding it up, and it's going to make you seem like a real giant that can pose a legitimate threat to Nike.
Right. And you especially need to do it while Nike is still kind of trying to figure things out, because they definitely are kind of scrambling right now. I do like what they're doing with their NBA jerseys. Like I like most of those designs from them, and the Nike Connect thing in the jersey is pretty fucking cool.
That's insane. Yeah, that when I saw the unveiling of the jerseys and they just put their phone on the logo thing, my mind was blown. I didn't know that could even be a thing that was thought about. That was just insane to me, that you can connect to the athlete themselves, and it specifies which athletes you're wearing, like their playlists and special shoe deals and the other jersey deals and ticket deals. That's crazy to me.
Incredible. I absolutely love that. So now like you've got Nike trying to figure things out and maybe hitting on something with this, right? So like you if you're Adidas, like you need to keep the pressure on and figure out what your next steps are. That's pretty much a wrap for me on Kanye. Did you want to talk about anything else? Or?
No, I'm good on the Kanye talk.
Okay. Did you have anything else in mind? Because my rundown is empty.
Okay. Yeah, I am kind of interested. I said it earlier with the D Rose thing, like that line isn't really popping anymore. It sucks. It never really was popping, maybe for like the D Rose 2 to like the D Rose 3, but that's like, I mean, because he does like the 2.5 or whatever, but that's like 3 shoes that were kind of dope on his, and the latest silhouette, the D Rose 8, is pretty awful. Like to me, it looks like a shoe that it looks like a team shoe, like one of the ones that you send to like the colleges for free and stuff. So I think that they're starting to open up a little bit more space to another athlete to get their own signature shoe. And I'm just kind of curious, who do you think on their roster or the prospective list of free agents, sneaker free agents, who do you think is going to get a signature shoe with Adidas?
So like the guy I keep looking at is Giannis, right? Like that's the biggest guy on the market. Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's the biggest guy on the market, the biggest name on the market. Is an incredible player who does really, really weird, freaky stuff on the basketball court that no one else can do, right? Like he has like this huge appeal, both nationally and internationally, because he's from Greece. Like that's a big deal. So like I feel like if they can snatch him up, right, like they'd be in pretty good shape. I don't know if they would be super interested in giving anyone else a signature shoe deal at this point. Like I do think I think they're just kind of throwing D Rose's shoes to the wayside right now and just like waiting for that contract to run out. What they have,
like look, we're giving you a signature shoe still. It's just, look, you're getting your deal. It is what it is. Just because it ain't popping, it ain't on us. That's all you, bro. Like that's pretty much the cards they're playing right now. It's just whatever it takes to get this dude out of the limelight is what's gonna be a win for Adidas.
Right, exactly. Like they want people to forget that they even gave him that contract at this point. But yeah, I think Giannis is the biggest guy. CJ McCollum is another guy who is he's going to be a sneaker free agent in like a week, I guess, when his deal expires on the 30th. But like as far as who's on their roster now, maybe you give one to Embiid or Porzingis. I would probably lean Porzingis there, just because one, he's played a lot more, and two, he's in New York, which is Philly's not a bad sneaker market either, but New York is New York.
Yeah.
And plus he kind of plays like a guard, and I think me personally, like I'm kind of hesitant to give bigs any type of sneaker deal ever, because like they don't have the ball in their hands and they're kind of too dependent on other players more often than not to get their numbers. But like Porzingis is a 7'2", 7'3" guy who plays like a wing. So like I think that could work out for you if you wanted to do that. It would be a really crazy shoe, especially for people to wear, just because like I see he's a big man, so like you probably have a lot of, I mean it might look something like the Mutombos, right? Like, or the Ewings, right? Like which aren't, like, they're not bad shoes, those are great shoes actually, but like I just think it's difficult to design something around big men and then also market that same product when they have to when they're kind of relying on guards to get the ball all the time.
Yeah, because that's what happened with the Howard line, right? With Adidas, like it totally flamed out because just nobody's interested in buying big man shoes because, one, they don't, like, consumers don't play like big men, and two, they don't, like, normal people don't look like big men. They're not 7'2" guys. Like it's hard to see yourself in a giant because, look, I just don't relate to that. That's part of why I think that the AI line for Reebok was so great, is this, like, he was a normal person. Like everybody always listed him at 6 foot tall, but like when you look at him, he looks like he's under 6 foot, and he was only like 170 pounds. So that's like, he looks like a normal guy doing incredible things, but it's hard to be like the David Robinson kind of shoe that never really popped off. And those big man shoes never really pop because no one sees themselves as a big guy, like, because most of us aren't. Or if you are tall, you're tall at like 6'6", so you more relate to Kobe than you ever would to Shaq. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
It's just one of those kind of things. But I think I agree with you. I think they have to do whatever it takes to get Giannis, like, as much money as humanly possible, because everybody kind of views him as basically the successor to LeBron, right? Like, and it's this giant guy who's physically something else. Like, he's so much stronger than everybody else is. Just when you look at him, he's fast, he's so long, he plays pretty much every position, he runs point, And his only knack is that he can't really shoot well, but that could develop over time if he really tried.
Right.
And nor do I think that's really going to matter when his wingspan is like 7'5". I don't think it really matters if he has to shoot or not, because you could just dunk on everybody. But yeah, I think he needs to be someone they target, and I'd love to see them go after CJ, just because the thought of them having the two best players in Portland, which is Nike's, that's Nike's home. I think that would be the biggest petty move. So I'm definitely rooting for them to sign CJ McCollum.
That would be incredible. I would absolutely love a CJ McCollum shoe. Also, like CJ is one of my favorite players in the league to watch, and so like seeing, I would cop that. I would cop that shoe immediately, no matter what it looked like. Like it could look like a Air Dad 3 or something like that. I would buy it. Shout out to CJ McCollum, but no, yeah, I think Giannis is the easy guy to go to there. CJ is probably number 2. I would say John Wall, but they already went down that line with him. So maybe after that.
I'm so bummed out with John Wall because like he left, and then the reveal of the crazy explosive being his line, like that was going to be the John Wall 3. Like, man, that would have been
that hurt,
because I've hooped in that shoe, and that is the best basketball shoe I've ever played in. Like, it's incredibly light. The full length boost is incredible. It's unlike anything else that Adidas has ever really put out. The Prime Knit upper is so nice and breathable and stretchy. It's basically the Ultra Boost of basketball. And it hurts so much that like when I saw the samples and it said J Wall 3, I was like, nah, man, like that could have been his shoe.
A lot of people don't know that either. Like the Crazy Explosive, the 2016 Crazy Explosive was John Wall 3. Like that is insane to me. And he walked away from that. And I guess he wanted the hard money, right? The 200 mil, right? Like, which is it wasn't going to happen for John Wall, especially not with Adidas having the first right of refusal on any other deal. So like, it's not like he could go out there and get a counter offer. But even if he did, like, it wasn't going to get up to 200 mil, right? So like, man, that would have been. I would have loved to seen them kind of continue with John Wall on that shoe. Like I thought that I really liked the J Wall 1. The 2 didn't really do it for me, but like the Crazy Explosive being the J Wall 3, like that, I would have been super excited for that shoe.
Yeah, man. Especially because like it sucks that like last year was the year that it would have made most sense. Like it really would have paid off had Adidas given him that contract, because John Wall broke out like phenomenally, especially in the playoffs. Like John Wall now people view as like, now he's a top 5 point guard. Like there's no doubt about that. And he's a top 3 player in the East. Like it's pretty insane. And then the Crazy Explosive, as popular as that was, like it would have been a perfect mesh together. It's just, at the time, no one could really see John Wall breaking out. And I don't think John Wall really saw the Crazy Explosive popping off as much as it did. But it sucks that that's where they are right now. But I don't know. Where do you think that he signs? Because I know you're a DC guy like myself. Where do you think that Wall signs finally?
Honestly, I don't know exactly where it'll be. Because like I feel like, once you have the signature shoe, right? Like you don't really want to go back. And hopefully like we get some more on this as the season goes on. And when he talks at Media Day, maybe he'll talk about it a little bit. But I don't know. I can't really see him going to Nike and getting an actual signature shoe. Like the best place for it to happen was at Adidas, and he already left Adidas. So like, I'm not sure if that bridge is burned to the point where he can't go back. But maybe he goes to Under Armour or something. It's Baltimore based, which is super close to DC, where he'll be until 2022 at least. So I don't know, man. Like it just kind of stinks that this is happening with John Wall, because like I feel like the shoe was really, really good, and it, like you said, it really would have popped off last year with him exploding as one of the best point guards in the league. Like I don't know, it's really disappointing. Maybe he goes to Under Armour and gets a pretty good shoe. I like what they did with the the Curry 4. And the Cam Newton, I don't know what his shoe is called. I think it's like C
The
Newton.
C1N trainer.
Oh yeah, C1N trainer. There you go. Yeah, I like what they did with that, even though it's just a trainer shoe, and it kind of leans more toward casual wear anyway. But maybe like he goes to Under Armour and gets a pretty dope shoe or something. I don't know. Maybe he signs with a Chinese brand and like gets a cool shoe. I have no clue.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that if he wants a signature shoe, I think that Under Armour would have to be the answer. But like there's a lot of perspective on where he could go. If he wants money, then obviously it would be a Chinese brand, right? Because Anta and Li Ning, like I know people don't really know it, but they pay a lot of money for athletes.
They do,
because they're so hungry to break into the U.S. market. Like D Wade is not hurting for being with the lower end market.
His deal is so sweet.
Yeah, he's got a really, really nice shoe deal, and he's got his own signature shoe. So like he's fine. So if he wants money,
it's not a bad shoe either.
Like it'd probably be smart to go with an Asian brand. But I think he'll just continue what he's doing now, where he just pretty much wears whatever he wants. Like he'll hoop in an old pair of Jordans, an old retro, and then sometimes you'll see him hooping in a pair of Kobe's. I think that's kind of what he likes to do, because like you said, he already had the signature shoe with Adidas and Reebok, and neither of them really sold units the way he really wanted.
Right.
And I know now he's an actual star now, so it could be a different story, but I think that there could be something in him that's just like, it's just not worth it anymore. And it kind of sucks because, you know, imagine what the Crazy Explosive did numbers with Andrew Wiggins as the face of that shoe. Like imagine what it would have done with John Wall this year, like with what he did. It's just, it kind of sucks that you can't go back and change anything, but I think going forward, he'll just remain a sneaker free agent till the end of time, because I don't know if any brand is going to be willing to pay him that money that he wants without giving him a signature shoe. Like, because I don't think they want any other brand in the U.S. wants to really give him a signature shoe deal outside of Under Armour. I don't know if he really wants to rock Under Armour. Like, I just don't know if that's really in the cards.
Yeah, like that. That's the thing about Under Armour, right? Like, we can talk about them as like this, the savior for athletes who don't have a shoe deal, right? But nobody wants to be there because the shoes are kind of ugly. Most of them have been.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Because, I mean, this is a brand that's been around for what, like 20, 25 years, and you don't really have a single signature shoe that you're known for.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, they just started in basketball.
Shoes, maybe? Like, it's just, like, you don't have across all of your brands, across running, across basketball, across football, across baseball, you don't have a single shoe that everybody just associates with your brand. Like it, and that's kind of, you know, that's not great, because you need this is like the superstar, right? Adidas has a superstar, and then Nike has the Air Max 90s, or, you know, the Jordan 1s, or anything really. Like, it's just Nike has a ton of hits, but Under Armour has like nothing. It's just kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. I don't know what that, like, I feel like Under Armour is they're in the same place that Nike was when they first started, but like they're not operating in that same way. So like I find it hard to like predict their trajectory. I'm not good at that stuff anyway, but like I really just can't see, like, looking forward into the future. Like, I can't see like a specific Under Armour shoe that will all just be like, oh yeah, this shoe was legendary for this reason, right? Like, nobody's shouting out Under Armour shoes on a song, right? Like,
no, yeah, it's like, I know it sounds kind of like crazy to think about it, but like I don't know how much longer Under Armour is going to be even notable of a brand, because, you know, we've had other brands within basketball that were like, they've had their quick little shines and then they just kind of blip out. And you know, fortunately, that's what happened to Reebok. They've totally flaked out of the basketball market. That happened in the 80s. There was a brand like Avia. They flaked out. They had a Ruse. That was the one with, they had the Drexler model, and then that just kind of like flamed out. Like,
Fila.
Yeah, it's because they had the Grant Hill line, and then that flamed out. It sucks to think about it that way, but I think that that's going to end up being what we remember in like 20 years. I think that's what we're going to remember Under Armour's basketball market being. Like, it was cool for that one moment when it had Steph Curry and he was, you know, pulling up from 40 feet out, but they just couldn't capitalize on that. Like, they just they couldn't find another athlete to swing over. Close with KD, and they put a ton of money into him.
Oh my God.
It's that contract offer, and then it
Then he
flamed him
was
out.
back.
So it sucks. It's just that's just the way it's going to end up being, I think.
Yeah, that's how it goes. It's how a cookie crumbles. Isn't that how the saying goes? I don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've gone for like an hour now, which was really fun. But
Yeah,
we have to stop at some point. Like, I don't really want to because I don't get to talk about shoes that much. But yeah, you can come on anytime. Also, open invitation. So yeah,
I'm definitely down to come on whenever.
Most definitely. I didn't know you were in DC. We'll have to link sometime. Also,
yeah.
Do you have anything that you want to plug before we hop out of here?
Not really. I mean, just check out Real Ball Insiders. I got a podcast, the Shoot Your Shot podcast, which you're welcome to come on anytime. We just talk about basketball and random other things about culture, hip hop and things like that. We talk sometimes about boxing just because both myself and my co-hosts have a boxing background. So we'll go into that sometimes. But yeah, anybody want to check that out or hop on, just let me know.
Yeah, I'll definitely hop on that. I got to return a love. Okay, so yeah, that's a wrap for us here at the I Have a Problem podcast. I thank you guys for listening. Appreciate it. Hopefully you're still here with us. I know you're still here with us because our conversation was so great. Do not forget to subscribe to the Problem Podcast newsletter. I've been tweeting the link out religiously. I posted the newsletter that actually launched on Monday morning. If you guys want to check that out. I'll have another one next week and the week after and the week after that and the week after that. So if you are itching for sneaker content, go ahead and subscribe to that newsletter, man. I got you. I promise you, I got you. I told you, I'm here to bring you the truth. I'm here to bring you the business. I got the juice for you. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let me know what you think. Send me pictures of your shoes at Mike D. Sykes on Twitter or on Instagram under the hashtag KOTD, which is not my hashtag, but it's a general hashtag that you would use, right, for kicks of the day. And it's a fun thing to do. And I just want to see you guys shoes. So yeah, thank you so much for listening again. Peace.